guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah, focus too close to the mic. Okay, good morning. My name is Kyle Thomas. I'm the co-chair of the Roofing Alliance Construction Management Schools Initiative Committee. I want to welcome you to our 6th annual student competition. I see a lot of friendly faces out there. Most of you guys have seen us before. If you haven't, you're in for a real treat. My job up here this morning is really just to kind of set the stage for you guys about what you're going to see and what's coming. And then I'm going to get out of the way and let the real stars take the stage, which are the students. The competition is sponsored by the Roofing Alliance. It's a part of our overall initiative to become more engaged with the schools of construction management across the country. So first, I'd like to take a minute to just look at the slide up there, but thank my committee. There's a lot of work that goes into this project, and these committee members put a lot of time and effort into this. So thank you to the committee members as well as the mentors. So each team is assigned a mentor from the roofing industry. That mentor works with that team on roofing specific stuff and just guidance overall for what to help them go from 0 to 60 as quick as possible on roofing, technology terms, semantics, all that stuff. So the mentors do a great job with them. And I'll mention this again just to reiterate at the end of my little speech here, but the mentors do not do the work for the students. So what you're going to see this morning is the students' work. It's not done that we guide them, but the students have created these proposals, and so the work is of the students, not the mentors. Pleased to say this year we've had 8 teams participate. 3 of those teams are new teams. So we've got Auburn University, which, by the way, I graduated from Alabama, so roll tide, but regardless. Bradley University, Clemson University, which is new to the competition, Colorado State University, Kennesaw State University, Ohio State University, which is new, Texas A&M, which is new, and the University of Florida. So I'm going to go through a few highlights about the project itself, and then I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the competition. But you guys have a handout in your seats that's got more detail and more information if you want to really dig into the process of the competition itself. So this year the project was a new construction project at the Ford Center, which is the part of the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters. So this portion of the project was the indoor practice facility, which is a dome-shaped structure, and the multi-use area surrounding that. So it's a relatively large, difficult project. It was designed, bid, and built in phases. The initial goal, the teams would provide a proposal for the practice facility and the multi-use areas, with kind of the carrot of being able to negotiate the remaining construction with them, the retail space, the headquarters space, the hotel space. And of course, they're supposed to try to find a competitive edge, but also, bid the job where their company can get a reasonable margin. So it's not necessarily looking for the cheapest, but the best. For this project, the teams, or the roofing scope was limited to the insulation, tapered insulation, and the membranes and flashings. There were wall panels and overburdens and pavers on certain areas that were not included in their scope for this portion of the project. And they were asked to break their prices out between the indoor practice facility and the multi-use lower roof areas. Just a couple of other kind of key components to the project, or some of the challenges to the project. One of the things the team saw right off the bat was due to the size of the whole entire project, it was a very large set of plans and specs that was downloaded or available to them. So they had to do like we do, and they had to spend a lot of time just sorting through all of that to figure out what really mattered to them and what didn't. So that was probably the first thing they noticed, was it was a really large set of plans and specs to sort through. This project has multiple deck types and elevations. Some of them were concrete roof decks, some were metal decks, some of the decks had slope, some of the decks were flat and needed tapered for the slope. More than one membrane type, TPO on the lower areas, fleeceback PVC on the upper area, on the dome practice facility area. The dome practice facility is a dome shape, so there's slope, it's high, it's kind of in the middle, but surrounded by lower level areas, so access and staging is a real challenge to get to the dome, plus the safety of working on a slope structure like that at those elevations. And As always, the helpful GCs were specifically excluding any help in getting the stuff up there, so the roofing sub was responsible for all their own hoisting materials, staging, all that. So that's kind of the layout of the project, and we give this to the students to help them sort out the roof areas and the roof assemblies. A little bit about the guidelines of the competition itself. The teams are comprised of 4 students with a 5th alternate in case one of the students gets sick or can't make it, or can't complete the competition. The students are undergraduates currently enrolled in school at the time of the competition period. The proposals, they send in a written proposal, and their proposals are to include their estimate, project management plan, safety, scheduling, quality assurance plans, basically a whole proposal package that they're submitting to the owner and trying to sell them or convince them why they should use their company for this project. The submission process was that we send the information out to the schools in September. So basically, as soon as the students are coming back to school, we're sending the information out to them. The teams were supposed to commit by October 7th, and then their written proposals are sent in and due on December the 9th. One of the things that we found is that when we first started this, we were late to the game. So, there's already a lot of other competitions out there. So we were competing with other industries and other trades for these students' times and these schools' times. So we really appreciate the schools committing and doing this with us because it's been very rewarding and very valuable for all of us. Another part of this is the scoring criteria, and I want to kind of hit on this because we've had some discussion about this. But what you're going to see, their final score, the winning team, the final score will be a combination of what was their written proposals that have already been submitted and scored and what you see today. So it's important to note that like I say, it's a combination of both. So you may see a team that performs really well today, and they may not be the overall winner, maybe because someone else's written proposal was so much better. So it's just kind of a comment to you guys to see, so what you see today is only half of their final score. And really, I think that pretty much covers it. I'm gonna get out of the way now, but once again, just reiterate that what you see is the work of the students. It wasn't the mentor. So what you're gonna see this morning is their work. With that said, I'm gonna introduce Bill. Everybody knows Bill, but I'm gonna hand it over to Bill Good, our moderator. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kyle. Good morning. One other piece of the process here that's very important is the judging. These folks, you can only see the backs of their heads, and they're lovely, I'm sure, from the back. But they've put in a lot of work because they've had to review 8 of the written proposals, do scoring on those in a variety of different criteria, and then they will be obviously judging the presentations today, arriving at final scores for all the teams, and that will all be announced this evening at the awards ceremony. So they've got a bunch of work they still have to do here. And I want to introduce them to you very quickly. Some of them were directly involved in this project. Others were not, but have been involved in the student competition, excuse me, for a number of years. So from my right, your left, and moving across, David Adams, Vice President, National Roofing Partners. Chris Evans with Capos Company, the contractor that did the project. John Geary, Chief Marketing Officer with Nations Roof. Elaine Hardy-Pierce with GAF, Parsippany, New Jersey. Scott Kowalik with B&M Roofing, Frederick, Colorado. Chad Lesher, President of CSL Materials here in the Dallas area. Dudley Miles, Chairman of the Board, J.B. Miles & Son. Chesapeake, Virginia. Bob Pringle with Charles F. Evans Company. And John Yuko with GSM Roofing in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. So thank you all judges for everything you have done and everything you're about to do. The way this is going to work is the teams they were chosen by a draw, their order, so there will be 5 teams presenting. They will each have 15 minutes for their presentation. They'll be on the clock once I introduce them. At the conclusion of that, the judges will have 10 minutes for questions and answers. And at the conclusion of that, we'll give the judges who are a little bit older, they need a little more time to do all this stuff. So they get a few minutes in between each presentation to do their scoring and talk amongst themselves. And then we'll introduce the second team and so on until we're concluded. So without any further ado, our first team is here for the 6th consecutive year. We've done this program for 6 and they've been here every year. From the Rinker School of Construction Management, at the University of Florida. And the stage is yours, gentlemen.
Morning. Now, before I begin, me and the guys, we were actually just talking outside on, we've been planning on this for weeks, putting in some long hours, working as a team. Now, you could say that this might be our Super Bowl Sunday. Well, maybe not, since the Dallas Cowboys are here. I'm completely kidding. I'm actually a third-generation Cowboys fan, so this project was incredibly special. Everything, the schedule, the estimate, quality control, all became that much more personal. But something we all take extremely personal here at Swamphead Roofing is safety. Now, I'm not just talking about checking all the boxes, shaking a few hands, kissing a few babies. I'm talking about a complete, comprehensive approach for the health and well-being of everyone on our job site. Now, to talk about this more is our leading safety professional, Eric Biggs, for today's safety moment.
Thanks, Tony. Truly thrilled to be here. Tony always says that at Swamphead Roofing, our culture of safety is in everything we do. Every day, every meeting, every one. So we start all meetings, whether in the office, in the field, or in a convention center, with a brief safety moment. In case of a fire, extinguishers are located just outside the double doors, and emergency exits are to your left, behind you, and in front of you. Now with that squared away, Tony will introduce the rest of the team.
Thank you, Eric. He truly is one of the best in the business. But now, let's meet the rest of the team. To start off, my name is Tony Cento. I'm President of Operations here at Swamphead Roofing Contractors. To my right, we have Palmer Collins, our General Manager. Now, Palmer's responsibility encompasses the majority of our pre-construction activities. Now, this includes closeout and warranty. Now, the guy next to him, that's our Senior Superintendent. He's primarily responsible for the site execution, mostly for quality control, and the labor on the ground. And of course, you met our incredible safety guy, Eric Biggs, our safety director, whose inherent passion for safety has almost become second nature. Now, these group of guys, as good as looking as they are, they're a lot more comfortable on a roof than they are in front of a camera. These individuals are the most qualified to deliver you guys the greatest project management experience possible, and it all begins with our culture. Now, let's face it, company culture happens whether it's intentional or not. So when we founded Swamphead Roofing, we wanted to found it on the belief that if you're ever lucky enough to be an employer, then you have a moral obligation to ensure that all your employees look forward to coming into work every single day. Or, maybe not hate it. Right, guys? Look, simply put, we believe if you nail the culture, everything else seems to be a little easier. Now, our project bid is for the complete roofing system for the Ford Center. This includes the dome and the lower roof areas. Meeting with the estimating department, I submitted a bid that's just a hair under $2 million. And this is the following breakdown. Our staffing is around $500,000, equipment about $400,000, and materials about $1 million. Now, this may sound a lot to you and me, but we all know for Jerry Jones, it's just pocket change. You guys are in for a real treat next, as I introduce our GM, Palmer Collins, to talk about some of our roof planning and assembly.
Howdy y'all, my name is Palmer Collins, GM for this project, and it is my pleasure to be standing in front of you. It's a privilege to be in the great state of Texas to explain what I believe is the most efficient and feasible execution plan for the Cowboys multi-use event center. For starters, as GM, my job is to review the project before launching pre-construction activities. After award, we initiate a harness on the roof instead of boots on the ground approach, meeting with our GC and trade members, while performing an in-depth analysis of long lead items and procurement. From the start of the project, we monthly track our general contractor schedules to ensure we can provide adequate products, labor, materials, and equipment to meet our roofing tasks. Suppliers will be contacted 8 weeks ahead of time to ensure all approved materials will be in place to be delivered on schedule and in the correct amount. 1 week prior to the start date, I will officially hand off the project to our superintendent, Ricardo. Now, on to execution. Phase 1 will last 55 days and will be sectioned off into 2 areas, Phase 1A and Phase 1B. Phase 1A will start at the center line of the dome on the northeast side, filling the metal deck flutes with acoustical insulation and a layer of 6 mil poly laid over. This will be followed by a 3.5-inch thick sheet of Carlisle HPH polyiso insulation with a 1/2-inch Dinsdeck roof board on top. This will be mechanically fastened using our top-of-the-line collated quick-dry roof guns, finishing with Carlisle 115 mil PVC membrane, adhered in full coverage spray of urethane foam adhesive. Phase 1B will be performed with the same steps as a mirror operation. Phase 2 will be performed in 18 days and will commence on the northeast corner of the lower roof system over the concrete deck, working towards the southeast corner. We will then proceed to apply the necessary layers of Carlisle polyiso insulation, including the 1/4-inch per foot tapered insulation, providing the roof with sufficient drainage, followed by a 1/2-inch Dinsdeck roof board, and finishing off with Carlisle Sherwell TPO membrane, adhered using Carlisle bonding adhesive. Finally, we have Phase 3. This will last 4 days and will start with our full crew placed on the south lower roof area over metal decking, and begin laying a 2-inch base layer of polyiso, followed by a layer of 1/4-inch per foot tapered insulation. This will be mechanically fastened with 3-inch insulation plates and using fastening patterns as noted in the manufacturer's specs and provided by our Carlisle rep, Bob Ferguson. Our crew will continue the relative roof assembly structure and concluding with the application of Carlisle 60 mil Sherwell TPO membrane, carefully heat welded with a minimum lap of 1.5 inches. During the roof assembly of the STARS multi-use event center, I find great importance in overseeing our detailed QA/QC process, in addition to attending our weekly on-site meetings. Once all 3 phases are completed, Ricardo and myself will be conducting a thorough walkthrough, meticulously inspecting each roof system, ensuring the building's defensive line is impervious. During the closeout, I will review all submittals, receive our warranty card and product maintenance manual, both from our Carlisle rep, and confirm complete with Manhattan within 30 days of completion, assuring them no rain shall touch this star. It is my pleasure to hand off the microphone to our Superintendent Ricardo to talk more about logistics.
Thanks, Palmer. Good morning, and thank you again for allowing us to bid the roofing package for the STARS multi-use event center. As Palmer said, This is going to be a multi-phase project with various safety and logistic obstacles that we'll need to overcome. We'd like to address these problems with you in a team building and pre-con meeting at our office. We'll go over any schedule conflicts, priorities you'd like to set, and allow you to get to know our team. Moving into logistics. We have weekly material deliveries on site, and we'll be offloading utilizing a 26-ton boom truck and forklift. We'll carefully place material on the concrete portion of the lower roof area and the metal deck dome roof, making sure we do not overload any of these areas. Any material stored on site will be covered with 2 layers of visqueen and placed on pallets. Any material stored on the roof will be strapped down and inspected at the beginning and end of each workday to ensure that nothing has a chance of falling off this roof. Going to our manning and schedule, manpower for this job has been carefully calculated to ensure for efficient use of your time and money. We will be heavily loaded during the first phase due to the overall scope and safety issues we may encounter. Phase 1 will have a crew of 21 people, including foremen, laborers, metal workers, and roofing mechanics. For phase 2, we'll go down to a 17-person crew, and for the final phase, we'll be at a 10-person crew. These numbers do not include our safety personnel, who will be monitoring this project closely. Moving into quality control, we utilize PlanGrid internally to maintain effective communication between field and management staff. This allows us to keep the most current documents in the hands of our field staff in real time. We're even able to upload progress photos, daily inspections, toolbox talks, and track issues in order to ensure that they're resolved in a timely manner. All equipment will be tested twice a day, before work start and after lunch, to ensure that our heat guns and robots are providing the most effective bond for welds. Here are a few examples of a properly and improperly welded seam. Finally, going into warranty, we pride ourselves on our relationship with our Colorado rep, who'll be there before, during, and after roof construction to ensure that it is installed according to the specs. Once we demobilize, we will send a rep from Swamphead and Carlisle to do a walkthrough once a month for the first year to ensure that your roof maintains its watertight integrity. Finally, Palmer and I will work together to ensure that we have all closeout materials completed and in your hands within 30 days of finishing the job. Thank you, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Eric for our site safety plan.
Thanks, Ricky. Having him around really makes my job easy. Now it's time to discuss my site-specific safety plan for the Star Multi-Use Event Center. A week before construction starts, I look forward to running a safety orientation to cover all hazards and to map out where safety monitors should be and who and what they're responsible for. My weekly coordination meetings with Manhattan Construction, and we'll keep everyone updated as the project progresses through the 3 phases. During phase 1, fall protection is everything. On the dome, every person, every tool, and every bit of material must always be tied off. If a single 3-inch insulation plate falls off the roof, I have failed. Examples of what we use to prevent this are these tool lanyards and holsters from our friends at Prime Grip. Every morning, I will inspect and distribute fall protection and PPE. Safety monitors double-check ties and will oversee Ricky's 21-man team. During phase 2, setting up an OSHA-compliant guardrail is most critical. On the TPO of a concrete slab roof, I worry our team might get distracted by the practice field construction and stand too close to the leading edge. So safety monitors will construct a 3.5-foot guardrail system to line the edges and oversee Ricky's 17-man team. Even though phase 3 is the smallest in scope, it still requires attention to detail and attention to safety. Working atop the small ticket booths and atrium will be dangerous as workers will inevitably be near the edges. Safety monitors must watch over Ricky's 10-man team with the same diligence and methods as phase 1 and 2 to finish this job out safely. We understand that safety affects more than just the individual. it is my personal responsibility to make sure our whole team returns to their spouses, family, and friends safely every day. We encourage our team to post a picture of loved ones on our Why We Work board to reinforce why we care so much about safety. We hope to be your #1 draft pick or roofing sub. So here's our MVP Tony to close us out.
Now, you guys didn't think you'd get away from me that easily, did you? Look, we get it. You guys are gonna hear some great presentations with some very talented individuals. But we at Swamphead Roofing firmly believe that we are the right company for the job because we love what we do, and we love who we do it with. Now, it would be an honor of a lifetime for you to allow us to take our part in this distinguished structure and this historical franchise. Because the Dallas Cowboys may be America's team, but we just might be America's roofing contractor. Thank you.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Morning.
We're going to go through the panel here and ask you guys a few questions with the remaining time. If you could, as you saw yesterday during the tour, the dome structure's pretty intimidating thing. So if you guys could, please elaborate on what your actual safety methods will be for securing both material and workers while working on the dome.
Sure, so I'll get into that. Essentially, we're gonna have weekly deliveries, kind of staggered in a way that we're not gonna have an immense amount of material on there ever, just because we don't want to deal with that much risk. So instead, we're gonna have weekly deliveries giving us what we need for the job that week, and we'll have obviously everything strapped down with either ratchet straps or some method of in that sense of getting it secure to make sure it won't fall off the roof. As far as personnel are concerned, we're going to have 100% people tied off all the time with proper rigging gear, and we're going to have our safety observers ensuring that everyone has the proper equipment and it's being tested regularly at all times.
No, thank you, guys.
Yep. If your company is the successful bidder on this project, what are you going to do to ensure the quality of the roof after you've left?
Absolutely. So, we like to think of all of our clients as long-term commitments. We're in this for life. I mean, you guys are pretty much stuck with us forever if we get this job. We're going to be sending our representative every once in a while at a predetermined time to continually check up on maintenance and to make sure it's protected throughout the entire project lifecycle, even of other trades that happen after us, including lightning protection. Anybody who touches our roof, we take it very personal, and we're gonna have a guy on site to ensure it's protected.
And if I can, I'm sorry, just to add, we, as I mentioned before, we will also have that first year of our warranty where more than likely myself and our Carlisle rep will be walking the site of the roof to make sure that it is staying watertight.
Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen. So I was intrigued by you've got this, these roof inspections or walkthroughs every month for the first year. One of the things with roofing is it's hard to inspect it and to protect it. So what is your approach to protecting the roofing system during and after installation, particularly from other trades, so that you don't let somebody else harm your roof before your building owner even gets a chance to use it?
Right, so actually, that's one of the things that we go over with you guys in our pre-construction team building meeting. We want to go ahead and let you know that it's really important for us to know when other trades are working out there. We want to make this known to other trades as well. So during our weekly coordination meetings with other sub-trades, we get that coordinated, figure out who's going to be on the roof, when they're going to be up there. The way we see it is, it's your project, but that's our roof. So we're going to make sure that anyone who's up there is, being safe first of all, but also taking care of what we've already installed and taking care of the roof that's already there. We'll also utilize methods like an extra layer of TPO, around welding areas and things of that nature to make sure that we can protect whatever it is that they're working with.
Okay, thank you.
I'm curious, you guys spent a decent amount of time talking about stocking the domed roof, safety on the domed roof. I'm more curious about how you plan to actually install a roof on that structure. Are you planning on working parallel to the slope or perpendicular to the slope? How are the rolls going to be oriented? Are the tools and the equipment that you're going to be using, is that different in any way from doing it on a flat structure? I just wondering if you guys can speak to some of the means and methods you're going to use to do this unique low slope roof.
Of course. So if you refer to your deliverable for phase 1, so when I said we start at the center line, we'll be starting at the center line and then moving east and going down, so east and then towards a southern. So we'll be going layer by layer towards the south until we finish the south for each phase. So that's how we'll be doing it as far as the dome goes, and for holding our equipment and the type of equipment, as far as we know, we will be using the same equipment. It is the fact of having it attached to something at all times, so there's no dropping or losing that equipment.
Morning, Gators. Morning. How do you plan to mitigate the potential for differing requirements of the architect, the general contractor, and the manufacturer as those differences might arise during the project?
So going back to our use of PlanGrid internally, it's really, you typically see a lot of GCs using it. We like it because we can not only just track actively what's going on our job site, but as changes come out, and as we put in submittals, get them approved, things of that nature, we're able to track all of these things through this program. And everyone on site, our foremen all have iPads. The app is accessible from any smartphone, which we provide all of our laborers with. So we're able to make sure that everyone's on the same page and keeping them up to date at all times.
To add in, so when I mentioned that we would be initiating a boots on the ground approach, meeting with the GC and other trade members, I did not include, but it was on the slide, how we're going to be also working with manufacturers and the architect, and that is for the pre-construction phase, but that is just to create the relationship, and once that relationship is made, then we'll be continuing that coordination throughout the whole project.
Thank you.
Good morning, team, and congratulations for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic presentation. I've got a question on safety as well. We all, I think, agree in this room that safety is first and foremost. We want all of our workers to go home every day the same way they came to us in the morning. So my question, you briefly explained about your safety program and the responsibility of your safety director. But I have a question is, who controls the site safety? The corporate safety director cannot be there every day. I'm sure you've got other multiple jobs going on at a time. So who controls the safety on the job site? And you didn't really mention to us the people that do not comply with their safety. What is your disciplinary policy in your company? Because I know sometimes being in the roofing business, you can train all you can train, do all you can do, but some people just don't take advantage of that safety culture you promote to your company.
And it's actually not just roofers, I think any part of life, growing up with some crazy siblings, parents, you can, do everything right, and then your kids, they don't know what they're doing. But to answer your question, we do have a 3-strike policy, and we never want to implement, and we do encourage positive reinforcement. But at the first strike, they're off the day. Second strike, they're off the week, and third strike, they're not allowed to come back. I mean, we take it that personally. And there's a wide range of penalties. I mean, if it's something like no safety glasses, that could be strike 1. But if it's something like not tying off, then they're immediately off the job site. Like you said, at the end of the day, it's not about profits. You know, we're all trying to make money. We're trying to be profitable. You guys are trying to get the most bang for your buck. But I mean, if we can't have people getting hurt, and like I said, we stress positive reinforcement, but sometimes you just have to lay down the law.
And when it comes to the staff that will be on site monitoring, I will run a safety orientation a week before the project starts, and I will train everyone and let them know where they should be, what they're responsible for, and those will be the guys that will be there every day, making sure that everyone is doing what they should be doing. As Tony was saying, we do support positive reinforcement. Just making sure that people are holding each other accountable. So the more that everyone's safe, the more profitable we can be. So we include a bonus for a lot of time, or a quarterly bonus for when everyone's acting safe, just so everyone holds each other accountable and makes it a team effort.
So some of your action items would be like safety huddles. You bring distraction flex prior to the job start?
Absolutely.
So what we do is we take all of our subcontractors, and let's say if we're getting a local labor force or our own people, then we'll take them in the morning and we'll let all the foremen come to the microphone and explain where. It's a huge project, so we need to know where they're working underneath, and then what they're doing. There's so many different times where you're shooting your own soldier. And if we can coordinate this in the morning, the first thing in the morning, at our stretch and flex, then it just works out for the entire day. And our stretch and flex, it's a company policy that we derive from an outside marketing, a health and wellness firm that's OSHA certified. It's something that we found, and it's nothing crazy. We're not making them push-ups or jumping jacks unless they're bad. That's a negative reinforcement, push-ups. Just kidding. But it's just a stretching. It's very realistic. Wrist work. Stuff for the knees, the back, the brace. There is an actual wage gap between a lot of our workers. So we want to use some of our older workers. We want to make sure that they're taken care of too. That's part of the small head roofing family.
I wish I had hours to talk about safety with you, but we have a time constraint. I just wanted to make
What are you doing this weekend?
I just wanted to make sure.
You want a roof deck on us?
I wanted to make sure to mention the main points applicable to this job. Some things that we provide at every job are shade, Gatorade, of course, and those stretches. So, yeah.
And one more thing to add on is each phase is pretty different, especially between phase 1 and phase 2 and 3. So I, as general manager, I will make sure that there will be a long spiel from our safety director, Eric, before each phase, so they will know what will be going on as far as safety is concerned for each phase.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Thank you, University of Florida. Our second team is with us for the 5th year, and they are from the Department of Construction Management at Colorado State University, and they're almost ready. No, I'm sorry. Does just need a couple of minutes before we introduce them. I'm too, and I forgot I said that.